Hello, welcome to my TED Talk. Today we will go over the causes and events that led up to World War II. The first cause of the war was the unresolved issues of the Treaty of Versailles from 1919 to 1939. World War II was best known for its devastating effects on the world globally, but not many know the causes of the war other than vague reasons blaming the war on the Nazi Germany. Today, I will go into depth how the war started in the first place and what events led up to the war. Let's start off by saying that the Second World War was started by the First World War. World War I ended with the Treaty of Versailles. This treaty greatly limited Germany's economy and army, along with stripping them of their air force and territories. Not to mention the huge reparations they had to pay in the years following because of the blame of World War I fell on them. As seen on the map before you, these are the territories that Germany had lost due to losing the First Great War. Germany had to demilitarize and had very strict restrictions placed on their military, along with being stripped of their air force, and they could not have a military bigger than 100,000 soldiers. The second origin that contributed to the start of the war was the Great Depression and the rise of dictatorships in the 1920s. The Great Depression was a time of economic struggle and trade throughout the whole world due to unpaid reparation payments. This caused more unemployment rates in both Germany and Europe. Due to the tough situations, this created pathways for the rise of the dictators or totalitarian leaders. The totalitarian leaders were leaders that promised to solve the economic problems of the nation they were ruling over. This led them to wanting more power and land, which was leading to World War II. The third cause of the war was the aggression and failures of the League of Nations in 1931 to 1938. The League of Nations was an international security arrangement that kept peace between countries instead of going to war. However, it did nothing when Japan invaded Manchuria in 1931 and when Italy invaded Ethiopia in 1935. The two aggressions led Germany to rebuild and develop themselves more powerfully. The League of Nations failed to help the countries that were in need of help and caused them to leave. It did not stop the war, and the only person benefiting was Hitler with his plans with Germany. The final and maybe most important reasons was the appeasement of 1935 to 1939. Alongside with all the causes already mentioned, this reason might be the most damning and possibly one of the direct reasons for the start of the war. The appeasement failed greatly as Hitler advances his army and prepared for war without getting checked by other nations. France and Britain thought that by giving the Nazis what they wanted and demanded would keep them from going to war, and that was entirely false, as Germany Nazi prepared for war by gaining land, control over nations, and freedom to remilitarize, and the appeasement eventually led to war. Thank you for tuning in with me today to learn about the causes of the war, and I hope you learned something new that you didn't know before.